Welcome, enlightened ones. Let's elevate. You ever notice how some of the most powerful shifts in your life happened quietly? No announcement, no countdown, no validation, just you, making a decision, and then moving differently. There's something sacred about that, because not everything that grows needs an audience, and not everything that's forming is ready to be touched by outside energy. You've lived long enough to know this. Some of your biggest setbacks didn't come from lack of effort. They came from too many people knowing what you were about to do. Too many opinions, too many projections, too many eyes on something that was still fragile, still becoming, still yours. This is about the power of not broadcasting your moves, not because you're hiding, not because you're afraid, but because you're protecting something real, something finally aligned. Something that doesn't need noise to survive. You weren't meant to narrate your evolution. You were meant to live it, quietly, intentionally, with focus. Because when you announce your plans too early, you invite interference. Not always malicious. Sometimes it's subtle. Doubt disguised as concern. Fear disguised as advice. Envy disguised as curiosity. People don't even have to wish you harm to slow you down. All they have to do is speak from their limitations. And if you're still in the process of building belief in yourself, that's enough to shake the foundation. So you learn. You stop telling everyone what you're about to do, and you start letting results speak. Because results don't argue. Results don't need defending. Results don't need explaining. Results just exist. And suddenly, the same people who questioned you are confused by your consistency. They didn't see the work. They didn't see the discipline. They didn't see the nights you chose silence over socializing. They didn't see the mornings you showed up even when nobody was clapping. And that's the point. There's power in being underestimated. There's power in being unseen. There's power in letting people think you're stagnant while you're restructuring everything. You don't owe the world a progress report. You don't owe anyone access to your next chapter. Some chapters are written in private for a reason, because if everyone had access, it wouldn't stay pure. It wouldn't stay focused. It wouldn't stay yours. You've noticed how the more you talk about something, the less energy you have to do it, because talking gives a false sense of completion. It tricks your nervous system into thinking the work is already done. So you get comfortable, you get distracted, you get delayed, but when you keep it to yourself, something different happens. The energy stays contained, the fire stays lit, the momentum builds, and when you finally move, it's decisive, it's clean, it's undeniable. Silence sharpens your instincts. It makes you listen to yourself instead of the crowd. It teaches you discernment. Not everyone deserves to know your dreams. Not everyone deserves to know your strategy. Not everyone deserves to know what you're healing, building, or releasing, because access is earned. And most people haven't earned it. They've just been around. And being around you doesn't entitle someone to your inner world, especially if they've never protected it. You've outgrown the version of you that needed external validation to feel confident. Now you understand. Confidence is quiet. It doesn't announce itself. It doesn't seek approval. It just moves. And people feel it after the fact. You don't need to post every goal. You don't need to explain every boundary. You don't need to justify every decision. Your life is not a group project. It's a personal assignment. And the more private you become, the more intentional your life gets. You start choosing your words carefully. You start choosing your circle intentionally. You start choosing your moves with strategy instead of emotion. And that's when things start changing fast. Because energy follows direction, and silence gives direction clarity. You're not obligated to let people watch you build. Some people only want front row seats so they can critique the process. Others want access so they can benefit without contributing. And some just want reassurance that you're not surpassing them. That's why you move in silence. Not out of arrogance, out of awareness. You don't announce your healing to people who benefited from your pain. You don't announce your growth to people who were comfortable with your stagnation. You don't announce your next level to people who only knew how to relate to your old one. You let them find out through distance, through changed behavior, through limited access, through results they can't ignore. And when they ask how it happened, you don't over-explain. You just smile. Because you know, it wasn't luck, it wasn't overnight. It was discipline behind closed doors. It was self-respect practiced in silence. It was saying no when nobody was watching. It was choosing yourself without applause. There's a reason the most dangerous moves are made quietly. Because loud intentions invite resistance, but silent execution bypasses it. You don't need to tell people you're leveling up. They'll feel it when you stop being available for what no longer aligns. They'll notice when your standards shift. They'll notice when your presence changes. They'll notice when access to you becomes limited. And that discomfort they feel, that's not your problem. That's the sound of you outgrowing the space they were used to occupying. Not everyone is meant to come with you, and you don't have to explain why. Silence is a boundary. Privacy is a form of self-respect, and discernment is a form of wisdom. You're not secretive, you're selective. There's a difference. Secretive comes from fear. Selective comes from clarity. You know what drains you now. You know what distracts you. You know what disrupts your focus. So you move accordingly. And the more you honor that, the more peace you experience. Peace doesn't come from having everyone understand you. Peace comes from understanding yourself and acting in alignment with that understanding. You don't need cheerleaders for every step. Some paths are meant to be walked alone, so your intuition can speak, so your confidence can grow without interference, so your vision can stay intact. And when the time is right, you reveal what needs to be revealed, not because you need validation, but because it's already done, already solid, already unshakable. You've learned that not everyone clapping for you is happy for you, and not everyone questioning you doubts you. Sometimes people just don't want you to change the dynamic, because your growth forces them to look at their own stagnation. So instead of shrinking to keep them comfortable, you get quiet. And you grow anyway. You don't need to convince anyone. You don't need to prove anything. Your life will speak louder than any announcement ever could. And the ones meant to align with you will catch up. They won't need explanations. They'll recognize the frequency. They'll respect the boundary. They'll understand the silence, because they're doing the same thing, building quietly, protecting their peace, moving with intention. So keep your moves private, keep your plans sacred, keep your energy guarded. Not everyone deserves front row access to your becoming, and the ones who do, they won't need updates. They'll feel the shift, and that's when you'll know. You're moving right, you're moving wisely, you're moving in your power. And the silence? That's not emptiness. That's momentum forming, and it's working. So before you go, just sit with who you are right now. Not who you were when you started listening, not who you're becoming next, but who you are in this exact moment. Someone who chose discernment over noise, someone who chose peace over performance, someone who is learning that not everything needs to be shared to be real. You didn't lose your voice. You found your power. You didn't disappear. You redirected your energy, and that shift matters, even if no one claps for it, even if no one notices yet. You do, and that's enough to keep going. So keep moving the way you've been moving, quiet, intentional, rooted. Let the world catch up later. If this message met you where you are, if it felt like confirmation instead of motivation, then stay connected to this space. Join the movement. Subscribe to Echoes of Enlightenment Oracle. We'll keep walking this path together, not loudly, but truthfully.